You said that you own like 14 companies. Would love to know a bit more about where you started from.
I believe that you are to give it all away from the very beginning. And here's why. You're not competing with other coaches or programs or softwares. You're competing with YouTube, TikTok, free form content that is available already.
You have trained more than 50,000 people across the globe. That is really huge. What is a vehicle? How do you do that?
I was born and raised in Morocco, and I was homeless from 13 to 16 years old. I do live in the United States, and I've been an entrepreneur for the last 17 years.
If you wanted to make $1 million in the next 30 days, would you be focusing on a free challenge? In the entrepreneurial journey, becoming a leader is one of the most important things, right? The ability to train and help create masters in your team who know their stuff is very important. Today, we have a global master trainer as a guest, someone who's worked with more than 55,000 solopreneurs. I can't even imagine how much time and experience goes into doing that, but he has done more than 2,000 plus consultations and has written 2 books so far. And he has his own podcast named The Great Discovery Daily. And not just this, he's done multiple challenges, even summits across the globe. Right now, he's on the Think and Grow Rich tour with many other speakers, like producing speaking gigs across the globe. Okay, so let's welcome Mr. Ali Mehdaoui. Welcome, Ali. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you for
to have
having
you.
me. I
It's
appreciate
a
you.
pleasure to have you, man. Thank you so much for hopping on. I mean, I've been going on through a lot of your stuff, trying to understand your story in and out, and getting an idea about it. So, can you please share with us a bit about you, what you've been doing? And you said that you own like 14 companies. Would love to know a bit more about where you started from.
Yeah, no, I appreciate Dana, and thank you, and thank to your audience for giving me your most valuable asset, and that is your time. And I look forward to just providing as much value. And my promise to you is, no matter what goes on from this point forward, I'm going to give you my best without holding anything, as I have no um, intentions or agenda to monetize or sell anything. I just want to give. So I hope that you and the audience are ready. But I actually appreciate the accolades. What most people don't know is I was born and raised in a third world country. I was born and raised in Morocco, and I was homeless at one point from 13 to 16 years old in that country, which,
Wow.
it's 22 years ago. It's way behind us. I do live in the United States, and I've been an entrepreneur for the last 17 years. And I know the word entrepreneur is the cool thing that everybody wants to identify as nowadays. I fear that many don't understand, nor do they know what it even entails to be an entrepreneur. And many are even thrown into the shadow of darkness, in that space of entrepreneurship, until they get hit in the face and realize this is hard and it's expensive and it takes a long time and I don't have the patience for it. But that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. Um, I I've gone through any sense of adversity that you may imagine, from a personal and a business standpoint. I fortunately, because I'm grateful that I've gone through everything that I've gone through, made me the man that I am today. I've been molested as a child, physically abused, sexually abused. As I've mentioned, I've been homeless. I've been beaten many times over. About a decade of my life in Morocco, from 5 to about 15 years old. I don't even want to think about, so much so that I did not go back to Morocco for 20 plus years. And, I'm in a much beautiful, better place in my life. My wife and I and our children, 6.5-year-old and a 3-year-old, we decided that this summer coming up, 2024, we are absolutely going to Morocco. And I want them to know where their father, and my wife's, to know her husband, where I come from. But I've taken companies public. Yes, I've done a lot of good things. We've done about $2 billion of sales in 17 years. But
Wow.
I share all of that to tell you that it came from the adversity. It came from the challenges. It came from the hurdle. It came from those things that developed my character. With no adversity, you will never be successful. With no adversity, you will never make it in business. With no adversity and failure first, you will never make it to the top. So for those who are avoiding failure, who are saying, I just want to play safe, I just want to have a plan B, you will never make it unless you are okay planning and willing to fail, struggle, and go through adversity. And I hope that starts this conversation in a healthy way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you said that, like having that adversity in failures, especially when you're not succeeding, when you're not getting what you actually want in your business, right? So sometimes I think there are a lot of times when we go through that, some things start working, you hit that good goal that you wanted to hit at one point, and then everything starts dropping, right? And everything doesn't make it, like nothing makes sense. No ads are performing, nobody's purchasing your offer. Has that time come to your like space anytime you were starting on your journey, and how did you deal with that at that point?
Yeah, that it's not just had I dealt with it. I still am dealing with it. I still am dealing with rejections till today. I Earlier this morning, I had a business meeting with someone that I wanted to have on board into one of our projects, and I wanted to bring her into the mix with her metaverse technology. And she said, nope,
Hmm.
it didn't make sense for her. And I pleaded my case as to why this would be a great partnership. She still said, no, I don't think this is a good fit. And we went on and on and on and on and on. And, I dropped and I was like, that's a shame. I really wanted to do business with her, but we couldn't connect at common ground that this could be a huge win-win for both of us. And guess what? I'm here with you with a positive, happy mindset, knowing in my mind, I'm still thinking about it. What did I do wrong? How could I not uh, earn her vision and her trust and her willingness to want to collaborate? So there is something that I have to take a sense of responsibility in, that I could have done better. And you evaluate it, think about it, but you got to brush it off and keep moving. Life is like sports. Business is like sports. You have to know that there is a season of winning, and there are a few losses in between. And I don't look at one meeting that's going to define a business or one rejection that's going to define a business. You just take it and evaluate it. What could I have done better? And when you figure out what you could have done better, the next meeting, make the adjustment and and eventually you'll figure it out. But I'll add one ninja bonus. When you do figure it out, do not change the recipe. A lot of people make a huge mistake. They figure out how to become successful, and then they focus on the watches and the car and the lifestyle and bragging about it on social media. Well,
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to tell you. I've done extremely well with my wife, but we intentionally stay cash broke. Intentionally, meaning whatever comes in that is beyond that point that we want to live in right now in our life, a humble life that we have, we invested in companies. And that's how, to your question earlier, that's how we get to 14 different companies. You stay
Mhm.
humble, you maintain that success recipe, and you say, I'm going to keep doing this until whatever that date or that time or that phase is. And then you can make some changes so you can get a little bit more comfortable or work a little bit less. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's just about who you are collaborating with and who you are actually saying yes to, right? And I mean, even if you're getting one rejection, it doesn't define you. But I'm pretty sure that in your decisions, like that you have made in the last 17 years, you have said no to a lot of things as well, right? So I mean, how do you make that decision to as to like which are the things that make sense in your business and which doesn't? In the perspective, like there are a lot of opportunities out there, and there are like 150 1000 ways to make money. What are your like decision making thing of saying no, I do not want to do this, I want to do that, and so on?
Yeah, I say no a lot, as a matter of fact. And the defining the very first layer of identifying if I'm going to take part of a business model or an opportunity or partnership is my core values. My core values are identified, and they're not just for business. It's not a mission statement. My core values are a way of life. Respect, family, to always learn to maintain humility. Those are core values that I'm non-negotiable about. So is this individual that I'm talking to aligned with my core values? Is his or her mannerism, is his or her philosophy aligned with my core values? There are some people who are all about the money, the money, and the money. And I'm okay. Listen,
Mhm.
God bless it. That's what you are aligned with. But that's just not me. So a lot of people would tell me things like, Ali, if you don't do this, you're going to be missing out on tens of thousands of dollars. That's not aligned with my core values, because that's not what I'm in it for. I just say I
Mhm.
intentionally live cash broke with my wife. So money is not in the top of my priority. The impact that I can create with that money would be that. So my core values will be the first. The second, is there any continuity with what I already have? Meaning, is what I'm going to do with you add and gel with what I'm already doing, or am I going to interfere with what I already have, already am making, or the resources that I'm already allocating for the companies or the prospects or the budgets or the campaigns that we have? to start something different with you. If that is the case, we're probably not going to be doing business together. And I am always, always mentally ready to say, no, thank you, not right now. A lot bigger, faster, greater than I'm ready to say yes, which it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me always aware of, is what I'm doing going to help or is it going to hurt?
Mm. Wow, that's really interesting when you mentioned the core values and the other ways that you're making those decisions. Because, I mean, like recently I went on to an event as well, and that coach said that whenever you're trying to sell, don't sell through your numbers, sell through your values, and that's
Sure.
where you're going to create a community that is going to be like shooting in for you. Like who they will be the ones who will be preaching about you, right? So I mean, you said that, like I saw it when we were doing a bit of research about you, that you have trained more than 50,000 people across the globe. Like that is really huge. What is a vehicle? How do you do that? Is it through just public speaking, or is it like other
Yeah.
ways that you're doing?
So there's a few metrics to it. Number one is I the content that I create, and this is a huge tip for any of you who are content creators. I
Mhm.
create it for free and I give it away all the time. And you may say, well, that's crazy because there are a lot of people who hoard their information, right? Like, oh, when you pay for the course or when you upgrade for the higher pay, plan or whatever the case may be, then I'll give you the $1 million success formula. I believe that you are to give it all away from the very beginning. And here's why. You're not competing with other coaches or programs or softwares. You're competing with YouTube. You're competing with TikTok. You're competing with free form content that is
Mhm.
available already with or without
Yeah.
you. Like,
Mhm.
like I can probably, that person who's selling a $5,000 course, I can find all that information online for free. And the reality is the reason it's already there is because you went and did your own research there for free and you build that course and now you want to sell it because you're good at marketing. So I give it all
Mhm.
away from, and by doing so, the defensive mechanism for that prospect who is thinking, do I want to spend money? Am I willing to do this? Is this somebody who's just trying to market me into getting something? And then it brings me the volume of attendees. That's number one. Number
Mhm.
two, my book, my audiobook, they're free. I'm giving them away. They're the best business cards ever. So it's an investment into my speaking gigs. It's an investment into my speaking opportunities. So I give it them all the way till this day right now. My audiobook is free for the masses. And the reason I do so is because you get to collect first name, last name, and email. Now, unlike the masses, I don't use first name, last name, and email to sell you my next challenge or my next event or my next whatever gig. I use it so I can send you a personal email that states, hey, buddy, I see that you just downloaded my audiobook. I'd love to have an opportunity to get to learn more about you and your professional background.
Mhm.
It's a personal touch that brings the individual right to us, right? Now,
Mhm.
once I do bring that individual into our database and I create a direct contact, point of contact, there is a Calendly link that that individual has to go through, assuming they actually want to have time to elaborate, learn, or have a consultation. Now, that Calendly is designed by default to get you to click cancel and not set up an appointment. In other words, there is a questionnaire in there that is explicitly designed for entrepreneurs who are ready to scale their business, who are mentally in the proper mindset to create success, who have a specific budget in mind. Now, I'm not saying they're ready to pay, but they're
Mhm.
already thinking. One of the questions that we have is our offers start at 4 figures per month. That's designed to get you to say, I might not have it, but I'm interested enough to see how I can make it work. While some people say,
Mhm.
oh, no, I don't want to spend any money. That is not an entrepreneur. That is a one-upreneur. That is an accidental someone that just ended up in a business setting on a Zoom somehow, right? So
Mhm.
my hope is to do so. But that formula and the abundance of giving leads us to connect with so many more people, which led to so many more individuals to opt in and select that kindly appointment. And one way or another, they ended up in our group coaching or they ended up on our high-end consultation formats or just ended up being in business with them. And when you do it over 17 years, it's going to lead to tens of thousands of individuals. And I'll tell you this, I also do a lot of freebie training sessions. I am
Mhm.
proud of that. I do free training whenever anybody reaches out. Yeah, dude, here's my Calendly. Okay, well, it says questionnaire. I'm like, that's fine. Just go through the questionnaire and book a session. I got you. And in 2022, I don't know why our numbers are 23 yet, but in 2022, I've done just over 1,500 free coaching sessions. And I'm proud of that because
Wow.
regardless of whether the person was able to do it or not, I still impacted somebody's life for the better. And I'm proud of that.
Wow, that is some crazy number, like 1,500 consultations in in a year. I mean, I love the concept that when you mentioned that you have to give as much value as you can, and then if they feel like this is something that they want to go forward with, they can schedule an consultation with you. So is it like, do you also follow the same model, and what are your thoughts about like give away everything that you know, give all the knowledge, all the secrets, and then sell execution? What do you think about that?
Yeah,
Do
100%.
you follow that?
100%. I am all for. I here's what I would do if this was a coaching session right now. I will literally give you the whole recipe. I will from beginning to end. I'm like, here's what I would do. 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 Here's what I will give you every single thing. I will tell you what website to go to. I will tell you who to contact. I'll give you everything. Now, here's what I would say at the end. Hey, based on where we are right now, do you want to do this by yourself or do you need our help? Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to do it by yourself, great. God bless. I love you. Tell the world that we helped you. Marketing is more valuable than a quick gig, right? But
Uh-huh.
99% of the time,
Absolutely.
that individual, if they are the right individual and the right partners, here's what goes in the mind. If he just gave me everything I need without a
Yeah.
dime, I wonder how much more will I get if I'm actually locked in financially, if there is vested interest. And that changes the
Mhm.
behavior of the relationship. And therefore, we close about 80% of our potential prospecting conversations. And it's not a hard closer. It's just give with abundance, and the person will feel somewhat of a moral obligation. I gotta give something
Yeah.
back to this guy, you know. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, most people don't have that attitude about their business conversations. There, if you're using what I just shared with you as a strategy or technique, that person is gonna figure you out real quick, and you're gonna end up being a scam artist. So don't do that.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. I mean, it's all about like they feel like they are indebted to you just because you gave them so much. That's why Alex Hormozzi's technique of giving him is so much for free is actually
Yep.
taking him to the next level, right? I mean, you were you on his book launch when he launched the book? Like,
No, I was not, but I understand the strategy.
yeah, I mean, like we were all expecting that he was gonna sell inside of that webinar, but he gave it away for free, and there were like 160,000 people on that one webinar, like watching him live, and they were just going crazy just because he made everything for free. The whole course was free, and it all compounded that all of his books, he launched about 100,000 books, all of them sold out in like 3 to 4 hours.
Hmm.
Right? It was just crazy just because of the value that he provided. So I mean, um when you started this journey of your public speaking, how did you get into public speaking particularly? And like, did you just start in taking some gigs, or did you get some opportunities at first, then people started noticing you?
So my public speaking career started like everybody else. I wanted the attention. There was a deep cut little child inside who was crying and who wanted like somebody love me. And that's the truth. I don't care what anybody says. We all want that. Oh my God, this is somebody's giving me attention. Somebody cares enough to listen. And
Mhm.
I'll never forget in 2013, I was in, it was a network marketing company, it was an energy company called North American Power. And it was in Atlanta, Georgia. I had my wife, my brother, my friends. We were like 15 or so of us that went in there. And then I had a 10-minute speaking format that the company wanted me to. I was doing really, really well. And they wanted me to just inspire. And, how did you make it happen as an immigrant who was still learning English, was still overcoming, who got out of a traditional job? And I saw the CEO of the company talk from the heart. He talked about his struggle with obesity and how he was treated bad as a child and bullied and
Mhm.
so on. And then I went up, and then I had a whole like bullet point, perfectly scripted. I throw that thing out, and I started speaking from the heart. And I started
Mhm.
talking about my childhood. I started talking about my physical abuse, sexual abuse, my nanny who abused us, and my trauma and my childhood. And then afterwards, I had a line of men, guys predominantly, who just would hug me with tears and say, I've been through that. Thank you for letting me know that I too can get out of it. Thank you for letting me know that there is hope, that I can be successful regardless of my past, to my dark past, to my shame, to my agony. And that was the moment that I decided, yeah, I'm no longer going to be the scripted bullet point guy who's going to give you an avatar. I'm going to talk to you as me who overcome everything that I've overcome. And, it opens so many more doors. People, when you talk to people from the heart and genuinely, honestly, again, not as a strategy, we all have a spidey senses. When you talk honestly and genuinely to the world will absolutely receive you with open arms. So my speaking
Mm,
gigs started from the heart. And then I wrote a book about was an expose about network marketing called The Lion Network Marketer. And I spoke from the heart about that experience. Every company like, we don't want to make these mistakes. Can you come and start consulting for us? Can you speak on our stage? And it just led to many other opportunities. So yeah.
wow. So, I mean, like at the beginning, when you were just starting out the public speaking journey, how did you come up with your whole story in a way that, I mean, you, of course, when you mentioned that you just spoke your heart, you didn't follow a script or anything of that sort. I mean, did it come natural to you, this whole storytelling part, or is it something that you learned along the way in your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, the story is natural because that's your truth, right? But then the delivery mechanism that needed to be developed. I got a lot of coaching. I got a lot of mentorship about projecting, about body language, about eye contact. Those things are relevant because you can have the most powerful story, but if you are talking like this and telling everybody how, it's not going to connect, right? You have to be able
Absolutely.
to project your language. You have to be able to project your excitement. And then at the same time, if you're just the guy who screams and sweating, you're probably not going to connect with most people. So you have to understand the best behavior. And I've done that. Like now I actually have a whole class and teaching on public speaking that I do on a regular basis. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to understand that your audience connect with you based on who you are, not what you are saying. So therefore, if I understand that you are going to judge me based on what I look like, what I sound like, and how I operate, I'm going to use that to my own advantage. In other words, I'm not going to fake myself, but I'm going to be the best version of myself. So therefore,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
personal
Yeah.
growth has become a huge element, such as in the past, I would do something like this. When you point, by default, it's a gesture of aggression because usually when we point, we're either talking bad about somebody or we're talking bad to somebody. But when you point one finger, there's three pointing right back at you. So
Right.
that's why you see politicians or public speakers, they will hold their thumb in their like this, right? Or you'll see speakers
Yeah.
speaking with their hands open like that. That
Yeah.
way, there
Yeah.
is no pointing. Eye contact, understanding when to elevate your voice and when to lower in your voice does make a huge difference. I'll give you an example from a public speaking perspective. I'm gonna give you two different examples. I'm gonna say the same exact thing. One is going to connect a little bit differently than the other. Ready?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say absolutely nothing right now. It's not gonna make sense at all,
Yeah.
and
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
it's just whatever. Now check the difference. I'm going to say absolutely nothing right now. It's gonna make no difference at all. But your brain right now is getting tickled. You see the difference? The energy itself, the mannerism, the body language is absolutely going to connect with you a lot more
Wow.
than the actual subject matter. Now, that's good and bad. Why is that good and bad? There are a lot of people who understand what I'm telling you right now, and they use it as an addition of delivery mechanism with integrity. There are others
Mm.
who don't have integrity and they just know the strategy and the technique, and they'll tell you what your
Yes. Yes.
ears want to hear with the right projection so they can
Mm-hmm.
get that credit card out of you. So
Mm.
public speaking is powerful. If you use it with integrity, you can make a huge impact. But if you don't have that integrity, here's what I promise you: sooner or later you'll be exposed so bad that you just dissolve like a fax machine and no one has ever heard about you ever again. So be very
Wow.
careful how you operate in public speaking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes sense. You know, like I have done a couple of events, and just now when you mentioned that you have to come in from the perspective of your audience, how they are going to judge you, not from the perspective of how you think that you are going to come out for your audience. It's like really game changing. I mean, like I never thought about it that way, but that's really a good point. And I think You have done so many events, so many summits and challenges. Can you tell us a bit about the challenge that you were doing every other week for the last like couple of years back, and how did that go? What were they about?
Yeah. So challenges are powerful. Challenges, especially a 5-day challenge that is well executed, well organized. And I'm talking from marketing it the proper way, from building a
Mhm,
funnel that is very attractive, that leads people to upgrade to the VIP sessions. And even if they don't upgrade, the text sequences, the emails that are going out, like there's a science to the madness, right? And
mhm,
the main thing that I will tell you that can make you a superhero in the challenge world or totally destroy you is, are you actually giving value or are you just selling something in the challenge? Most
yeah.
people will have a 5-day challenge, and every first hour of every single challenge beside the VIP is like, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. And by the way, if you buy my book, you're going to learn 1, 2, 3, and 4. But buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. That is not what the challenge is for. People are giving you their most valuable asset, their time. Forget about the upsell money, it's their time. So if I give you 1 hour of my time on day one, I better have a brain, like, whoa, I just learned something I never learned before. So the question that you
Mhm,
have to answer while you're building your content, once the person drops out of that first session, did I make their life better? What are they going to apply right away? What kind of practical, not motivational, but
mhm.
practical element did I just give that person to do better, to be faster, to buy speed? And we've done that a lot, really, really well. And every speaker that we had, we told them straight up, hey, can you share your content with us? Oh, I'm going to talk about, no, not the topic. Can you share the content? I need to know, what practical element are you giving to my audience? Because allow me,
Mhm.
and here's what I will tell to those who want to sell in a challenge: let the host be your salesperson. See, I would
Yeah, absolutely.
introduce the speaker as expert, and then
Right.
I will let
Absolutely.
them just value, 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 value. And I'm like, by the way, if you loved what you saw right now, imagine spending 7 days with this gentleman, because he's hosting his own event in such and such resort. And here's the ticket. You will be like, let me do the selling, because I have influence with the audience that I got them to come in the first place. So why do you think they know nothing about you by telling them, buy my book? They're not going to buy. So value first and let someone else do the selling. If you're not giving value, I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing day one with 200 to 500 people or whatever that magical number is. Day two drops, day three drops, day four. And most people do the selling on Thursday, day four. You lost 90% of your audience by the time you're actually selling an offer. So give value.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there were a lot of really amazing points over there when you mentioned that we have to give real content. I mean, I think Pedro Adao, who's known as the challenge guy, he really talks
Huh?
about like
He's the
it,
one who actually worked with us for 2 years.
really, wow,
Yeah, we actually were collaborating with him. We won one of his awards in his ceremonies as, I think we were either top 5 or top 10 challenges from a revenue generator, and it was during COVID too, so it was like a perfect home run.
wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, that's amazing. So you were doing a free challenge, right?
Uh-huh. It was
Yeah,
free
that's
with 2 options to upsell.
upsell. Yeah, VIP
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the platinum.
It's
Uh-huh.
literally, that's his formula. That's what we've done, and we've executed it to the best of our abilities. And like I told you before we went online, that company is now in Nasdaq as a pre-IPO company.
Wow. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's so powerful. I mean, like I really have this thing around Myron's community. I'm a Myron Golden student, right? I'm in his community, and he really talks about doing paid challenges, just paid challenges rather than doing free challenges, because it gives you like more attentive students. Just because it's like once people pay, they get like higher show up rates and so on and so forth. However, it's more like in a free challenge, you get to like actually impact lives and I get to connect with a lot more people. And I know there are a lot of nuances to it. There are a lot of things. However, I mean, if you deliver pure value in a free challenge, it's going to be game changing.
It's truly a
So
matter of philosophy too. I mean, they shout out to Myron because he's absolutely disrupting the game right now. But it's a matter of philosophy, like what is your philosophy going in, and just stick with it from beginning to end. Especially if you're doing
yeah,
free upsell and then a bigger VIP, or you're doing paid. If there is no practical value that's changing somebody's life from day one, you will not make it all the way till
Right.
the end with that audience, or they're not coming back for the second and the third and fourth. They're not going to tell their friends, "Oh my God, I just went through a life changing event." You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's all about the content that you put there. So, like Pedro always has this saying when he says that webinars are for overcoming objections, but challenges are for removing the objections
Absolutely.
along the way, obstacles. Like completely. Each day you can dedicate to a particular objection or an obstacle, you remove it altogether. So, and you also talked about the host part, right? So let me get some clarity on that. So you always have a host for your challenges, just like Pedro, Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, all of them do. And how does that impact your challenges? I mean, like I have hosted challenges for my own clients, and I've seen the changes, right? But what have your has your experience been?
Well, I'm usually the host 90% of the time in the challenge that we've done. And yeah, I do have
Okay.
a training session, usually something small, but you know, there we all have a role in a project or a campaign or a company, right? You can't be
Hmm.
everything for everyone all the time. But what you
Right.
can do is you focus on your superpower. I do know that I have an ability to communicate well. I do know that I have an ability to influence, and I do have high energy. I mean, you know, when it gets turned
Yeah.
on, you won't be able to control yourself. You find yourself jumping, and you're saying, "What's wrong with me?" You know. So I know that. I recognize that it's been built over the last 17 years. So I do also know that I have the ability to sell without selling, and that's an art of its own. Selling without selling is allowing you to make a decision on something that I'm already doing by inspiring you to do it. In other words, I'm not telling you you need to clean the street. I just been cleaning the street in front of you so many times that you're like, I better clean up my side of the street. You know, you just start picking up the garbage, right? So
Uh-huh.
so that's what I believe the art of selling is. So what I do is I'm a student and a diehard fan for anybody that I collaborate with. Remember core values? See, if I were
Right.
to work with you at a challenge, I would ask you, hey, I need you to spend like a couple of hours with me working together because I need to know who you truly are. I would
Mm.
never, and this is a rule of thumb for me, I would never introduce a speaker if I don't truly know who they are. At least spend a couple of hours getting to know them truly, because again, we all have spidey senses, and we all can tell if Ali is hyping up and marketing somebody, or he
Mm.
truly is a fan and a consumer of the philosophy and the ideology of this person that is speaking. So being a host, I let everybody know, hey, this is not edification or elevating somebody in front of you. Here's why I know that this gentleman is someone that you need to listen to inevitably. Here's what he's done for me. Here's what he's taught me over the last 3 days. Here's what I've done and implemented and created the value for me. Here's why I'm feeling healthier, better. So it's a matter of authenticity. And as a host, if you truly know who you are dealing with, not for the sake of the financial transaction that they're going to get and you're going to get out of it, but truly the impact, and we are in the same alignment of that impact, I promise you, energy transfers. That's why they call it emotions.
Mhm.
Energy, emotion transfers from one human being to another, even if it's virtually right now. There's a reason you're smiling as I'm talking to you right now. There is a sense of energy that is transferring from me to you right now because we are in the same frequency. It's like two antennas that are connecting, and we have no static right now. As a
Right.
host, if you are not in pure alignment with that person that you're about to A, introduce, B, promote towards the end, because I tell them, let me do the offer for you. You can come back and reiterate certain things, but let my face and your face be together. And I'm going to say, hey, so if you want to work with this gentleman, here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you take. And especially and
Wow.
exclusively just for us, he's giving us a 10% off. And by the way, if you do this right now, there's an add-on bonus from us, yada, 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 yada. And then
Wow.
I'll bring you back on. Hey, is there anything that I missed and you want to add on? Final remarks. And I know that usually the needle will be moved a little for the sales.
Wow, man, I love that. I mean, I'm getting so much excited about this because I mean, there are so many golden nuggets over here. It's really so powerful to connect with the speaker first. I mean, then everything you say to introduce the person comes from your heart, right? And you know exactly what you're talking about and what people can expect off of him. Sometimes I have done introductions, and sometimes I have brought in some guests without like having the complete knowledge or idea about them, and I do not get that full energy. So I
Of
completely relate
course.
with what you're saying right now. So I mean, like, you talked about day 4 you're doing the pitches. So you do the pitch yourself as a host for the client or for the coach that you're working with, collaborating with, or the coach does the pitch and then towards the end you do the urgency scarcity? How does that work?
It all depends. It all depends on who I'm dealing with and what is the alignment, what is their level of salesmanship.
Yeah.
So if your superpower is the subject matter that is being taught and focused on throughout, or that theme, then focus on your
Mhm.
gift. Don't sell. Because we all can tell who's the trainer, who's the marketer, and who's the salesperson. You can tell, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm dangerous enough in marketing. I am really, really comfortable in educating, but I'm really good in selling. Period.
I
Right.
can say that, yeah.
So by saying that, I let the individual know, hey, here's what I do, here's how I do it. Can you share your philosophy with me? Oh, I do the same exact thing. Great. Can you right now, and we'll go over the slides. Can you go over your offer for me? And please, I need you to truly give me every sense of your truth and authenticity, because I want to be able to buy this as soon as you're done. If I don't feel it, I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't think this is it. And I don't want to be participating in something that's going to fail. And based on that conversations, because again, as you know, the challenge is not we start Sunday night to talk about it to start on Monday. No, it's weeks in preparation towards that event.
Yes, absolutely.
So based on who we're dealing with and who they are, obviously we go right into a decision making, whether we are going to do the offer for them, or they're going to do it. And also depends on the audience. Is the audience connecting with you, or is the audience connecting with me better? Is the
Mhm.
audience predominantly coming from your network, or did we collaborate and do some sponsor ads and it came from my network? Well, if it came from my
Mhm.
network, obviously I have the influence. Let me do the
Right,
selling part. If it came from your
right.
network, you have the influence. You go ahead and do the selling part. So I hope that makes sense.
Wow, no, absolutely. That absolutely makes sense. I mean, like, that's the beauty of doing a challenge, right? So by the time you're doing the pitch, you have already read the room, right? You know what people are talking about, what questions they have. You can also tweak the offer, but at the same time, you know who people are connecting the most with. So I would love to talk more about the marketing part, like how, like, we just covered the engaging, like the host actually engages the whole crowd and moves them before the speaker actually comes up and speak. But how do you fill up your challenges? What's your strategy of bringing like thousands of people in, 500 watching it live, so on and so forth?
There are a million ways to $1 million. We can achieve that. So what I'm going to share with you right now is what worked for us. I'm not saying the only way. Number
Hmm.
one, you got to spend a little bit of money on marketing. You got to have high end marketing collateral. You can't just, record with your phone, walk in with your bedroom behind you and say, okay, I promoted it. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to
Yeah.
have high end marketing content out there. Number two, you got to do sponsor ads. You got to do it, even if it's just for brand equity, even if just to equip the affiliates that are working with you, or the sales team that is working with you, to be like, oh, yeah, that's
Hmm.
us, right? You got to do live sessions leading up to the event. So, what we've done is every single day at 11 o'clock, Monday through Thursday, 2 weeks, like literally 2 weeks before we do a live every single day. And we're give essentially an appetizer of what the actual session would be. And I have you if you were on that first day. So this is going to be our speaker on day one. And here's what he's going to cover. Here's what he's going to cover. Do me a favor. I know we only have 15 minutes out of what could be an hour. Can we talk about what should we expect? Okay, can you elaborate on that? Can you give top five? So what I'm doing is I'm giving free samples on a live every single one. Guess what I'm doing? Hey, on the comment below, I'm going to put the link for registration. And you can register for free right now, or you can choose to do the $7 upgrade or the $97 upgrade. Here's what they both entail. Chances are you're probably a true entrepreneur and you're going to do the $97. But if the money and the timing isn't right, go for free. You can always upgrade in a week or 2 weeks from now. And we leave it at that, right? but I'm promoting, actively promoting, and I cross promote. In other words, I will make sure that you are tagged in all those live sessions. We use StreamYard. That way we can broadcast everywhere simultaneously, and I'm tagging you everywhere. So now your audience is seeing my content as much as my audience is seeing your content. So we are maximizing exposures. Last but not least, funnels, lead pages, email lists. I mean, full blown. Every arsenal that is in place, you got to go all out. And then we do an affiliate system as well. We have an affiliate program, obviously. You choose based on your bottom line how much percentage you want to give out of that 7 or out of that 97. But chances are, when you legally, ethically bribe people, they will tell others. So it's not a bad deal to tell
Yeah,
somebody, like,
absolutely.
I'll give you 50% of that $7 or 25% of that 97 if you tell the world.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, like people always, sometimes some people ask me like, how much should be the affiliate commission that you should give away for your challenges? And I'm like, you would have spent 50 or 60% of that already to Facebook or Instagram. You would have given it to that. So why not just
absolutely.
give your audience like 60%? So they are more intended to go ahead and get 2 people in so that they can get their own money back, and then they can focus on the other stuff, right? So,
Absolutely.
and have you ever done paid challenges, or you have done free challenges so far?
The ones that successfully worked for us and for our community have been free with 2 options to upgrade. And of course, if they upgraded to the $7, it gave them the VIP. If they upgraded to the 97, it gave them so much more perk, including the recordings for everything, private sessions, follow-up, special events, and things of that nature.
Mm.
But no, we've always done free to upgrade option.
And you're really big on collaborations, right? And I can say
Big
that. I
time.
mean, you connect with a lot of people, but get partnered with them. So I mean, like, um, what's your strategy about partnering up with the right kind of people for your challenges or events or summits? How do you get to know that this speaker is the one that is going to be on my challenge or event that is going to just give more value to my audience?
Core values, my friend. Remember that? Core values.
Absolutely,
I don't
that's what.
care. Listen, I love Gary V, to Tony Robbins, to you name them. I love them all. I follow them all. I watch their stuff. But
Mhm.
is their core value aligned with ours? That is the main thing that it comes down to. Because you could be, let's say your goal is to go to California, and my goal is to go to New York, and we are in the middle of the country. It doesn't matter how amazing of a human being I am and how amazing you are, we're still going to be going against each other. It just wouldn't work. I'll give you an example. I saw Robert Kiyosaki had Greg Cardone. I don't know if you've seen that. He had Greg Cardone on his virtual podcast. And he
Mhm.
brought him in to educate. Now, they're both big on moguls on real estate, but they have fundamental philosophies. Grant Cardone is a salesman at heart. You give
Yeah.
Grant Cardone a microphone, a stage, he's going to sell you something. He's like, yeah, buy this book. That's the way he operates. Right? 10x everything. Sell, sell,
Yeah.
sell.
Uh-huh.
His book 10x, deliberately teaches blow them out of proportion, send 10 times more emails, and if they opt out, well, they weren't the right people. Right? That's his philosophy. Robert
Mhm.
Kiyosaki, however, believes in just educate and give value first, and then the call to action afterwards, right? Well, Grant
Mhm.
Cardone, in the middle of his first 5 minutes, he is giving his very best educating, but every 30 seconds, that's why I keep telling you about the book, blah, 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 blah. And then remember, on my chapter 7 of this book, and Robert Kiyosaki abruptly says, Grant, and you're like, yeah, stop selling. Just teach. Now imagine in the middle of this like
Wow.
huge virtual conference, everybody's like, oh, daddy and mommy are fighting in front of us. And it was awkward and uncomfortable. Now, what was that showcasing?
Wow.
Two
Oh my God.
amazing human beings who are very valuable in the real estate marketplace, but their philosophies were opposite. Their core
Absolutely correct.
values were not in alignment. So again, I'll go back to our core values aligned, because yeah, I know we can make money, sure, but it's not about me and you making money in that space. It's about the thousands or the hundreds or the tens of people who trusted you and I enough to give up an hour of work, to give up time with their kid, to give up something that was very valuable to them out of respect to us. So at least make sure that you are giving them what they came for. And that's why my core values are non-negotiable.
Mm. Mm. I mean, that's really powerful. Of course, I mean, I hadn't watched that podcast, so I'm definitely gonna watch that now after we have a conversation. Because I mean, like, I can't even imagine in the middle of the podcast he stopped him and he said to stop selling.
Yeah, you can. It's all over. It's on YouTube.
Wow.
Just look at Grant Cardone checked by Robert Kiyosaki. You'll see it. It's. I mean, not that we're
Wow.
trying to promote issues or
Mhm.
adversity, but it's there. It's a great example of, regardless of how great you think you are, if you don't
Mm.
understand the core values of the community you're speaking to, what's his name? E.T. the hip hop preacher. He's been invited so many times to speak in major Fortune 100 companies, and they say, "But you just have to put a suit on." He's like, "No, I don't want to do it, regardless of how
Mm.
much they're going to pay." And he talked about it on his book, You, the last one that he just wrote. What's his name? Gary V. Hey, we want to hire you, but we can't have you curse. Sorry, won't do it. I gotta be me, otherwise I
Yeah.
won't get on stage. So those
Yeah.
are
No.
individuals who understand their core values, and you may not agree with them, but as long as there is alignments, it'll be a home run every time. But if there is no alignment, yeah, it's gonna be a red flag.
Mm. Wow. That's so powerful. I mean, every time I have a conversation, it always gets redirected to the core values in some aspect or the other. Maybe because like it's um you mean like you're at a position where you know that money isn't a problem for you anymore, right? And it's all about connecting with people and growing what you already have. But for all those people who are just starting out at the moment, for whom money can be a big objective at the moment, um they're just seeking the next opportunity that they can get. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to find the right kind of like focusing on core values and at the same time focusing on like how they connect in something rather than just getting an opportunity. What do you think about that? When you started, were you still facing this kind of issues, or it has always
I
been the
am
same?
I am so grateful that you said that. Now remember, you're talking to a kid who was homeless and who started from zero. So I don't come from money, right? Here's what
Mm-hmm.
I would say, because what I'm about to say maybe taken the wrong way if I did come from money, right? If I was that kid who mommy and daddy gave him everything, that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
So let me say this: money was never an object from the beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
if you understand that, you've been given, especially right here, right now in 2024, we have everything that we want. Let me ask you a question. Would you agree with me that most of us, if not all of us, have access to internet, have
Yeah,
access to a cell phone,
absolutely.
have
Ab-
access to social media, therefore the world, have access
Absolutely.
to anyone that we can message at any time, right? It doesn't cost much, if anything at
Mhm.
all, to have a free Zoom account. Like we literally can create a very butchered, bad produced challenge with $0 if we
Mhm.
really wanted to, right? But
Mhm.
I believe how you do anything is how you do everything.
Everything.
So
Mhm.
therefore, if from day one you operated within your core values and you are non-negotiable, those who are going to stick with you and grow with you, or if you seek those great superheroes that are aligned with your core values and you let them know, hey, I really,
Mm.
really want to collaborate because we are aligned in our core values. Money was never an issue and it would never be an issue. But if you compromise for money, I promise you, no matter how big you get, you will always compromise for money.
Mm. Wow, that is
Don't
so
don't
powerful.
don't put yourself in that circumstance where well, money's not an issue for you. Like, no, it's never. If it was about money from the very beginning, I'm telling you, I've been invited to, and again, please, nothing against anybody, but I've been invited to Scientology conventions to come and speak on their events. Right? No, thank you. Why not? Because it's not aligned with my core values, regardless to the faith itself or lack thereof, faith in this case. But I personally am not in what I'm doing because I want to impact people's belief system. I just want to
Mm.
share my story as a practical tool to humanity. And whether you use it for personal or business, that's your prerogative. But if you are
Mhm.
having me to come in there with an agenda to convert people's belief system to leave a faith or higher power,
Mm.
I'm not your guy, and I know why I get invited to that. I lived all around the world, and I've lived in well, fully lived in 2 countries, but I've been in 5 countries at a long period of time that I've experienced life and I've seen things. And people like to use that, like, oh, Ali, you were born in Africa and you live in America, therefore you're an African American. Can you tell us about? No, because I've never gone through that. Hey, Ali, you lived in a Muslim country. Now you live in an American country that is predominantly not as oriented with the Islam. No, because that's not my role in life. So
Mm,
it's all about core values. Don't compromise who you truly are deep inside when there's no camera and no microphone for a check, because I promise
mm,
you, the checks will get bigger and so will your compromise. So stand your
wow.
ground right now and be patient. That's what I said from the beginning. A lot of people are wannapreneurs.
Mm,
Entrepreneurship is simply the investment of time, energy, or resources for the hope of achieving a return on investment with full impact. If you
mm.
compromise that definition, you are nothing but a salesperson of an agenda, of a product, or of a service. I'm not a salesperson of anybody.
Wow. I mean, that that is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. At the
Sure.
beginning, you mentioned that like whenever you start, money is never the objective, which is so true. When we think about, like, when we started, we didn't do it for just for the money. We did it because we wanted to have a good house for our family. We started doing things so that we could get the freedom for our family and ourselves, rather than just going after money in the first place. But later on, when we started seeing other people's objectives are to make money, we start like getting that inside of our own head, and we start focusing on money as well. And that's where things start getting off, right?
The truth
I mean,
is,
like,
if it was about money, my conversation would have been different with you.
uh,
I was introduced to you, and I was told he's an amazing human being, and you need to collaborate with him. But the gentleman who connected you and I, Dr. Stan Harris, he holds a huge amount of influence on me. So the moment he said he's an amazing human being and you need to collaborate with him, I didn't say how much. I didn't say,
mm,
is it a retainer or is it I just said, great. What did I say? Hey man, I look forward to learn more about you and your professional background. When can we connect?
yeah,
You
definitely,
send me two
absolutely.
dates. You send me 2 dates. I picked date 1 and date 2, and we said like, okay, see you then. No questions were asked because it's never about the money. It was transferred onto me that your core values are aligned with ours, and I was like, that's enough for me. See you then.
All right. I mean, like, that's, thank you so much for sharing all of that, Ali. It's a it has been a pleasure to have you over here. I mean, like, towards the end, I was just usually we do numbers as a rapid fire. I mean, if you're okay, we could do that numbers as a
Yeah,
rapid
whatever
fire, or
works,
we could skip.
whatever helps.
I mean, it's just numbers. So if you're okay with the numbers, otherwise we could just skip that if that's
No, no, whatever you normally do, I'm for it.
all right. Awesome. So we're gonna have a rapid fire right now. It's just going to be solely about challenges and numbers. So it doesn't have to be the exact figure. You can give a ballpark as well. I mean, whatever, whichever works the best for you. So that I'm ready when you are.
Talk to me.
All right. So how many challenges have you done so far?
2 years. We've done one every 2 weeks, so I'd say about 100.
Wow, the 100 challenges. That's
Mhm.
crazy. So how many people have raised in each challenge?
Usually between 100 to 300, and the first ones were a lot lower than as we kind of built our
Mhm.
credibility and we've mastered our craft and the identity of the challenge itself.
Mm, wow. Okay. And what was the lowest ticket offer you have sold from a challenge?
The lowest was $447,
Okay. And what was the highest one?
1,500. We never sold more than that.
Okay. And all of this from a free challenge, right?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So what was your lowest revenue from from a challenge that you did at the beginning?
From the tickets themselves, it was maybe $1,200. And
Mhm.
that's obviously a lot for free. Some seven. The
Mhm.
best one was a little over $5,000. Um, but the
No, I mean,
offer.
like, with the offer sales as well?
So with the offer, I mean, I can tell you the first one we've done less than $10,000. I mean, it was just very very low, which is still $10,000. Proof of
Yeah,
concept. They're
it's a
like,
lot.
whoa,
Yeah.
we made 10,000. Okay, so we just got a 10x what we just did to
Hmm.
10x the best one I believe we've done just a little over $350,000. Now remember, this is every 2 weeks. So it
Mm,
adds up, and it added
yeah.
up so much so that the company is in still under evaluation with Nasdaq. I mean, we took a pre-IPO, and challenges were a huge driving force for us.
Mm, wow,
Yeah.
very powerful. So if you wanted to make $1 million in the next 30 days, would you be focusing on a free challenge, and would you focus on scaling a free challenge and getting to
A-
$1 million?
Absolutely, but I'll probably give it a little bit more than 30 days to prep it if I'm aiming for $1 million, because that requires exclusively like ridiculous amount of focus, and everything has to
Mhm.
be close to perfection, because that's a not a norm for 99% of the people who will do a challenge. I know it's
Mhm.
doable, but I would say, like, I would love to take 30 days just planning, 30 days just promoting, and then executing it to the best of our ability.
Absolutely. And would you do a solo challenge or a collab challenge in order to make that?
Would I do what? I'm sorry.
Would you do the challenge solo as a solo person, or would you collaborate with speakers in
I
order to make it?
collaborate. I would much rather have collaboration, because if you're doing it as a solo, you better have a network, a huge loyal network with brand
Mhm.
equity, because that's a
Mhm.
lot of pressure on one person to fill it up. Otherwise, you're going to be selling $50,000 items to make $1 million. But personally,
Yeah.
I believe in bringing the masses together, bringing a union of incredible, talented human being. And if our goal is to have 500 people in a challenge, and we're 10 of us, well, it's easy for us to commit to just 50 attendees instead of one person having to have 500 attendees.
Wow. Okay. I mean, thank you so much for sharing all of that numbers with me. I mean, it's been a super amazing session. I have learned so much. I'm pretty sure everybody watching over here would have learned so much from me as well. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to host you today. So, lastly, I would just like to ask you, like, what would you say to someone who's on the fence of doing a challenge, or maybe he's just procrastinating just because it's a lot of work to do?
Well, for that person, it is a lot of work to do. That's why you need support. That's why you need help. That's why you need assistance. That's why you need people who are better than you. If you are not aiming to have someone who's better than you in your circle, you failed miserably. You again, there is a science to the madness. If you want to
Mhm.
be the best person in any space, reach out to the better person in that space and say,
Mhm.
teach me everything that you know. Right. And I believe you, sir, Mr. Han, have that experience, that knowledge and wisdom to assist, coach, mentor, and get everybody into that place that they need to be. You've done it successfully and for many. I also believe that don't do it with the mindset of, I'm just going to do it as cheaply as possible. You're going to cheat yourself and others. Remember, it's not about the fact that you can put food in front of me, is the fact that there are thousands of other food providers around you, and they're going to make you look really really bad, and they're probably going to do it for the same cost, if not lesser, than you. So reach out to somebody who has the success, the experience, and who's done it. Because here's what I do know: when you get somebody else who's done it to do it with and or for you, you're buying speed. I want to buy
Mm.
speed. I don't want to have to go through the trial and error, because your mistakes are very costly. Somebody else's
Mm.
mistakes are very cheap and they're very good. So you say, I won't do that, I won't do that, and I won't do that. So that's what I would say to that person. And with all the respect, and I say this with love, please receive this message with love. If your mindset is, again, I'm skeptical, I'm scared, you're operating in the wrong paradigm. That is not a mindset of an entrepreneur. That is a mindset of somebody who just doesn't understand entrepreneurship just yet. I'm not like,
Mhm.
you know, once, you know, the greater things in life are on the other side of fear. The reason we are with our significant others is because we've overcome the, I'm nervous, she's going to reject me in front of everybody. And we're like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it anyways. And if she does reject me, I'll deal with it on my own self. And then we ended up with our best person in life. the fear of
Mhm.
buying a home, the fear of driving a car for the first time, the fear of anything. So if you are operating with fear and skepticism, reach out to that mentor and say, I need you to help me overcome this fear, because fear is simply generated by lack of education, lack of understanding. It's like when the lights are off and we're thinking there are monsters. No, it's just you don't understand. It's just an empty room with four walls, and your
Mhm.
imagination plays tricks on you. So you just need to get educated and reach out to Mr. Han. I know he can help you out big time.
I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Ali. I mean that's super powerful, and I could feel you speaking to directly to me when you were saying that. But really respect you. Thank you so much for hopping in, and it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure is mine. Appreciate you.
See you soon. Have a conversation soon. All right. So with that, we come to an end of this episode. If you liked it, go ahead and like this video and share your best takeaways in the comment section. And I have put together a very new training that's absolutely free that helps you start your challenge absolutely from zero. And if you are not sure about like where to start, if you're just starting out with challenges, go ahead and watch our series on how to launch your first challenge on our podcast. I'll see you soon. See you on the next one.